In an age where legends are forged, kingdoms die, and the gods themselves tell you it's probably over, isn't it? There's one war that echoes through eternity, the Trojan War. The fall of Troy inspired humans throughout the centuries, but what if fate could be changed? What if there was no divine intervention and this was purely a historical context? Bring your spear, shield, and stand in formation as the sons of Troy go on to rewrite history. Vilusha won its independence from the Hittites through diplomacy, some accidental targeted assassinations, and hey, maybe even a rebellion or two. But we're independent and on good terms. A vital trading hub of the Aegean where people from all corners of the known world gather for one thing.
Money!
Rich and wise Priam is the Wanax of the Aegean. We're at the top of the food chain, but that doesn't stop the total war ecosystem from wanting to illogically kill me or submit and join the herd for protection. The Mycenaeans here are a prime example of not understanding the delicate balance of nature. It's only fitting that the finest equipment goes to the Wanax, but let's find out how well this Wanax fits into the enemy's guts. Their faction symbol is a crab, the pinnacle of glorious evolution, but that won't save him from extinction. We might be outnumbered, but old Priam marches with dignity and our renowned archers tear through the enemy as blessed by Apollonius himself. The infantry clash just turns into an all-you-can-spear party, and the swords of Troy are taking a nice little beating from the clubmen. In an age where the longsword, composite bow, and chariot are king, yeah, no, a big stake is the emperor. Somehow though, they turned the tide. After 10 hours of hot spear-on-spear action and some decapitations, we've turned the enemy into crab cakes.
Enslave.
Enslave him? Well, considering the general was called after Priam's bastard son, which was a slave, yeah, it kind of fits, doesn't it? Everyone wants a piece of Troy one way or another, and the Mycenaeans and the Aegean Islanders are the worst scavengers. No wonder they hate our legendary dynasty. Our legendary dynasty is... wait, unremarkable? What do you mean? Do you know how many people's grades were ruined by not reading the Iliad in school? Do you know how many times I skipped class as a kid to watch the movie? 3 times, actually. Well, Priam, maybe you should have busted more enemy skulls instead of nuts with that mace. Jeez, look at all these kids. The first Aegean dynasty sounds lame as hell. We need something more inspiring. Wait, this would become known as the Tro-Chad area, so we're the Tro-Chad dynasty. I swear it's just writing itself. And the poets are gonna write about another victory now, as Hector leads a heroic assault on Adrastea. The sworn warriors are about to smash the crab people into paste, but Hector charges through both of them with his chariot squad. Well, this does shatter the enemy. It brings up 2 important questions. Why didn't my dudes die from the impact as well? And who gave Hector his driving license? What the hell, man? Our swords clash with the enemy's spears, and this could be a battle worthy of the gods itself. If only my slingers weren't laying dead on the ground because they did the Bronze Age version of "Get down, Mr. President," as the sons of Troy fight against the immovable wall of eastern spears supported by their Asuan archers, things are looking bad. But even in the grim darkness of the 13th century BC, there is hope. The enemy general experiences the worst day of his life as he gets spit roasted by the sword warriors and chariots. His death broke his men spiritually, but Hector will physically break what's left of them with chariots. See? This is how you build a reputation. And this is just the start of our journey. King Priam values loyalty, and in Troy, we're all equal. So join the army and subscribe, or I'm gonna send you to Bulgaria. Thanks to our skilled diplomat Takua, who's had to do so much paperwork, or should I say tablet work. He's already gray-haired in his 20s, look at him. We managed to strike many trade deals with our neighbors, even with the Walking Dead himself, Kurunta, who should be decaying in the ground by now, but hey, look at us, 2 old dudes just hanging out. I'm gonna embargo the Greeks though, no trade with you. Our goal is to forge the Aegean Union, with allies and vassals on a global scale. Trading some Trojan trinkets, it's just the first step. As our noble son Hector already has a kid and he's happily married, don't Google what happens to the kid in the Iliad. He's a real family guy. We need to ensure Paris gets Paris Jr., a little birdie which totally wasn't a shapeshifted Zeus looking for some hot action told me Mycenae has this girl called Helen. The most beautiful of all, and they won't give her up not for all the treasures of Troy. But with a stern gaze of dominance, the submissive Agamemnon gives her up to us. Bro, I can't. In every universe, Menelaus just gets cucked, and this time his own brother's like, yeah man, nope, she's theirs. You know what? Just to hammer in the point, like Paris is gonna hammer Helen's anvil later, I'm gonna kick Agamemnon out of the royal court. And speaking of smashing, the just won't stop, and it's up to Paris to make it rain on the enemy, ignoring that Tarhuna already blesses us with rain. Just what we needed. At least the weather makes our enemies aim just as bad as us, which works to our advantage as we have the pinnacle of technology for ranged troops. Rock throwers. At least Paris aims like Apollonius himself blessed his bow. Our spearmen go into formation in a choke point and hold off the enemy swarm. And this is where things get brutal, as the Asuan clubmen smash the enemy from behind. Once again, the pinnacle of technology, big rock on bigger stick. Unfortunately, these are not classic age Greeks, otherwise the kissing meme would be so on point. If we don't cut the head off the snake, the unending hordes of Greeks are just gonna keep raiding us. In this case though, they're a Hydra, so we have to burn it with fire. The Aegean Union is happening one way or another, but it looks like they're gonna be cut out of it unless they bend the knee. It's time to start island hopping across the Aegean, with Laspa as our first target. I dare you to say the modern name of this island. I dare you, out loud, in public. The islanders are happy to greet us with open arms. After all, I'm the king of Troy, and they're totally not using him to throw rocks at us. That's why we are not returning in kind and breaking their backs with our hammers. Priam's look of dominance proves way too much, so after a brief struggle, they run away back to their walls. Getting beat up by a dude that's nearly on his deathbed is quite the embarrassment, so in a fit of Heraclean rage, the Greeks counterattack. Tarhuna blesses the sons of Troy, yet would see us equally cursed by his reign. See, I told you, no god bias, no direct intervention. The enemy army is split up and awaiting reinforcements. This provides Priam with some free target practice, and when opportunity presents itself, like a centaur in heat, he rams into an archer unit. The long grass is stained by both Greek and Trojan blood, though we're pushing them back as our archers rain death on the enemy. Priam pulls off another hit and run, and dude's lucky no one had license plates back in the day. As rain falls down from an angry sky, my clubs rage on and deliver the killing blow. The sons of Troy truly are blessed with clubs of considerable might. Love conquers all, you say? Well, it's kind of a shame we got Paris and Helen together a little bit earlier, so let's get noble Aeneas married. Odysseus suffered a tragic chariot accident, so instead of more negotiating with our master diplomat, some random is refusing to let us marry Penelope. Well, a war it is. Let it be official, even in this historical context. The war started over a hoe, and Aeneas settled for a girl called Fartis. Yeah. I hope something else doesn't ignite in the middle of the night. Bronze Age Dutch oven. You're welcome, Aeneas. As we finish our first level in Hello Kurunta's island adventure, a new opportunity pops up. In the Iliad, Priam helped the Sungarian Phrygians defeat the Amazons, and that's a cool story, bro. Maybe you should write a book about it. Wait. I really want a piece of that Assuan land. So Hector captures town after town until he's had enough. The Phrygians are a bit slow, you know. It kinda took him a while to realize, hey, we should maybe defend our cities. Hector charges in after the Phrygian general like an Amazon in heat, eager for a mounted duel. But due to interference from both the Phrygian archers and Rhone slingers, it's not going as planned. And our heroic prince is running away. I report Hector lost his balls. No, not the Canaanite ones. While our main line is engaged in fighting, another army comes to ambush us from the rear. Unfortunately, I'm not in the mood for that one today, but we'll have to sacrifice our Assuan warriors to deal with the spearmen. The sworn warriors go on a mission to hammer the Phrygian general, and just like that, they get turned into a bloody mess. It also makes me realize two-handed clubmen would be great spinal readjustment surgeons in the Bronze Age, if they actually existed in this form. I'm not saying this is divine intervention, but our slingers get a direct view of the general and kill him. With this, the Sangarian spirit is shattered and Hector returns. Surely no one noticed his absence. It's okay, bro. Your secret is safe with me. After slaughtering the Phrygians on the run, Arzawa belongs to Troy. Maybe I misjudged this Agamemnon guy. I'm sure he doesn't hate Troy after we humiliated him twice. Paris entering Helen's Mycenaean Lion's Gate and getting twins out of it surely put him in an even better mood. And I'm sure nothing can go wrong if we get this position to a Greek called Achilles. What's the worst that could happen? Oh. Well, I guess we got ourselves the real Trojan War, and let's turn it into a Trojan win.
He said it! He said it!
With our goal of forging the Aegean Union and conquering Greece, we're gonna need a lot of friends. And there's no better way to make friends than to kill people and to give their former land to other people. After splitting the former Sangarian Phrygian land between Tereia and the Maeonians, we got our first vassals thanks to Takua's silver tongue. You know what they say about vassals, you gotta catch them all, just like Pokemon. I choose you, Cimmerian horse archers. Use drive-by. It was super effective. Menelaus is sailing towards us, and how much humiliation can a man endure? Is he gonna bring Helen back? Or will he get cucked again? They say Aeneas was destined for greatness, and if you can't beat this hollow shell of a man in battle, what can I say? Yeah, Paris is not gonna accept this challenge for, obvious reasons. Our renowned archers annihilate the island skirmishers. You might look at his bald, dead head and think, dude, he's naked, what's he gonna do? But javelins will kill anything. Even a god if he was to come close. Our arrows blot out the sun metaphorically, but that shade won't help the Mycenaeans who are getting shot to bits. We're outnumbered and definitely outmatched on line infantry, but our spearmen will heroically defend as hard as they can. They go into formation and tank the angry Greeks, but the elite Mycenaean axemen are still gonna manage to cleave through them. The militia is overwhelming us, but hey, this exposes their flanks to our archers. So I guess if you wanted to die, the forecast today is pretty high. On the left flank, Aeneas is charging heroically, hoping to bait out Menelaus' bodyguard, and the plan works, in perfect timing as well. Our one-axe guard hits the Greeks hard and deep into the rear, causing them to shatter. Menelaus escapes our circle of death because our bodyguards decided to celebrate in the middle of an enemy rout, but you know, that's fine. We'll still catch him and send him to Hades. Hades nuts. Yeah, there's no actual mentions of Hades in the Bronze Age so far that we know of, but I'm still gonna make that joke. Now that the Greeks have been politely told to get off our coast, we need to get more allies, so we're gonna send Takua to forge trade deals with the barbarians of Bulgaria. I mean, Thrace! And just like that, the cool boar symbol Thracians get blazed by the yellow grass Thracians. I can't let them grow too high with power, but Thrace is gonna have to wait. Why do I hear boss music? As the final boss is sailing towards Troy with two armies, I ask myself, can fate really be changed? Of course it can, as Aeneas intercepts the smaller raiding army and dispatches them to the afterlife. Priam continues conquering the islands of the Aegean, while Hector is escorting Takua, the Diplo-Chad, to secure another vassal, Ephesus. Yes, we have a loyal Greek faction on our side now, and who's a good little Achaean colonist? You are, good little Achiaba. What do you mean you can't trust us? They center on their own! After I threatened them, but still. Now Ajax and his femboy sidekick Diomedes are against us as well. Great. The Greeks want to play diplomacy game? Alright. My totally not stressed out diplomat is gonna sign a military alliance with Kurunta and Lycia, as well as multiple trade deals with the different Hittites and Luwians. So what if I bought all my friends with money? Okay, you know what? I'm pissed. I'm declaring war on all Greeks I see.
Prepare to suffer.
Point of view, the calmest total war game. Agamemnon was anything but calm though. And a legendary battle awaits, one that will forever echo in history. As much as I love a good bush, I have to turn off foliage so you can see more of the battle here. Because of our amazing spears and archers, we're gonna set up a defensive formation with the ridge on our right, so we can't get flanked. And we're protected from some missiles with the bushes on the left. The Mycenaeans outnumber us on all fronts and they have the amazing palace guard. Their battle tactic? Well, YOLO! Charge! Our spear walls hold off the enemy swarm and give us precious time to kill off some of the palace guard and the Achaean archers thanks to the renowned sons of Troy.
We found the enemy.
The Greeks are fighting like heroes, but their resolve gets crushed quicker than the Nemean lion's windpipe by Heracles, as I bring around my light shock infantry. Yep, I hit him in one of the bushes and brought them on the flank. It breaks bone and splatters brain across the sands of the battlefield. You know, that sounds like a pretty typical night partying out on one of the Greek islands. Agamemnon, as befitting, is the first one to run away from the battle, and what's left of the Greek forces follows. The beast might have escaped now, but we managed to corner it and kill it. This time it wasn't a bathtub incident. Agamemnon almost died like a man. Almost. Look at the Tro-Chad dynasty now. We're beloved by the people, and we have many mighty feats of both war and diplomacy. Who's writing history now, huh? It's time to avenge the boar people and declare war on the grass people of Thrace. Paris was a bit too busy doing things, mainly Helen, but all it took was one "no daddy, not the belt" to send him to war again. A giant Thracian host is on the field, and our stout spearmen are ready to face them. But we're suddenly ambushed from the right. Our shock infantry clashes with theirs and comes out the winner, but maybe they started cheering too soon. More and more Thracians are coming out of the long grass with deadly javelins, but our brave chariots get into position and steamroll through most of the horde. Sure, we're gonna lose some, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. The main lines are engaged where volleys of javelin and sticks beat against master-crafted Trojan armor. But the sons of Troy don't even think about retreat. And just as it's raining from above, a rain of arrows falls from the sky, shattering the Thracian skirmishers. The chariots are picking up stragglers here and there while stick-on-stick combat is happening. Truly the pinnacle of the Bronze Age. Yeah, I hope you caught the sarcasm. As the Thracians flee into the forest, they're pursued by our chariots and Paris wins a heroic victory. You know, maybe he's actually a competent commander, even if he's kind of a douchebag. A huge Greek army lands right next to Troy, while another marches further inland to attack Zelea. Our garrison is heavily outnumbered, but the Greeks are no match for the experienced Kalparuntia. Legend has it that if you say his name 3 times in front of a mirror at night, he'll appear behind you. We're heavily outnumbered, but we have the champions of Troy holding the line, as well as the Eastern Spearmen, and they go into formation to brace for the coming onslaught. The swarm of clubmen attack from all angles, and while the champions are easily sending them to the afterlife, the enemy general in his hubris charges into the elite spears. Frontally, some things never change. During the chaos, Halparuntia decides to play Grand Theft Chariot and runs over the enemy archers. On the other side, the Eastern Spearmen, backed up by the settlement's general, are holding off the endless enemy assault, at the cost of the general's life. You'll never be forgotten, random guy whose name I didn't look up. In the middle, sees our champions completely encircled and shot at. Regardless, no true son of Troy will take a step back. Was it hubris? Yeah, it was, as the enemy general dies to our champions. The rest of the Crimean Greeks shatter as Halparuntia does the Bronze Age equivalent of running with scissors, charging chariots through mud. But hey, rules are made to be broken, just like bones. Meanwhile, the army attacking Troy? Oh, come on, what is this? Paris is just gonna skillfully auto-resolve them to the afterlife. Many skirmishes are fought across the Aegean Islands by Hector and Aeneas. Every island, every victory bringing us closer and closer to Greece. The power of our league is growing. We can recruit the mighty Phrygians and Kashkians from Kurunta. And the walking corpse is without an heir. I offer my son, Deiphobos, to become the next king of Terhuntasha. Kurunta accepted this, and this gives us a powerful presence in the Hittite court in the future. Words of a civil war in Egypt quickly spread to Takua. Now he's got time to slowly sail down there and maybe make us some new friends. Totally not taking the advantage of the situation, of course. The duo of Twink and Bear, Diomedes and Ajax, are gathering their men to invade Troy. But, lucky for us, Paris gets to intercept them on time. The soon-to-be-dead duo deployed on the opposite ends of the island, with Ajax rushing for the hill. The Rage and Forest block us from shooting them to death or even just straight up charging, so we're gonna have to improvise. Paris sends his Asuan warriors to assassinate Diomedes, and this time no mythical plot armor is gonna save him. Surrounded by clubmen, his bodyguard is getting the caveman treatment until their backs and spirit break, and Diomedes joins the ranks of the dead himself. So, where's that divine intervention now, huh? A legendary clash of axe and spear awaits while our Thracians sneak around and unload their javelins into the enemy's back. Why are there spearmen everywhere? It's not like the spear was the main weapon throughout history, right? The chariots charge into the forest and keep on rolling through the Greek archers. The Boeotians are slowly pushed back and they run away, with our chariots and warriors in pursuit. Paris is proving himself to be a better duelist than Orlando Bloom and the source material. The mighty king of Thrace, Rhesus, submits to Troy, and soon more of the less than willing tribes will join us. We're bringing battle to the enemy shores, island after island, and there's no richer, no better target than Crete. After carving a bloody path through the settlements, Hector besieges the mighty city of Knossos, the legendary home of King Minos and the Minotaur. But they're not answering the doorbell. Instead, we're greeted by the enemy army sailing out to fight us. And Hector, totally honorable, always, rams into the enemy general like the Cretan bull rammed Pasiphae. This sends the bodyguard running while the other two armies approach. Our renowned archers blot out the sun, the main target, the deadly skirmishers. And remember, an arrow a day keeps the javelins away. We don't like getting touched by those. The front lines clash in heroic combat, axe against sword and spear. The Argives are cutting a bloody path through our Trojan mob, but the Achaean runners are evening out the scales. And even the well-equipped slingers fall to arrows. The grind is still continuing, but we're slowly gaining the upper hand. As the last of the javelins are caught by our Asuan warriors, Hector charges into the enemy rear, and the Cretans, overwhelmed by the presence of such a Chad, run away. The island of Crete is ours, and Greece is just a little swim away. The Hittite Great King Shupluliuma offers us a military alliance. We might have broken free from the Hittites, but with a brotherly bond established, we've grown even stronger now. And Hatti was already strong to begin with. Where's your Greek alliance, huh? And look at this! The Hittites and Luwians are moving to attack Greece as one, and there's gonna be more to follow. See, people? I don't see anything. Hey look, more Pokemon, the Carians. Paris lands on the coasts of Attica and attacks Eritrea. He foolishly sends his chariots to crash through braced infantry, which, hey, seemed like a great idea at the time, but the clubmen didn't rout, and the chariots were just shot to bits by a mass of slingers. Alright, it's okay, Paris, we've all made mistakes before, but there's no mistakes with deadly archer volleys annihilating the enemy slingers. Our spearmen rush for the city center while enduring volley after volley of arrows. On the right, our Asuan warriors assassinate the enemy general and get into a fight that's way out of their favor. But their clubmen so slowly, cycle after cycle charge, they're breaking the enemy. Our spearmen are unrelenting, backed up by unending volleys of arrows. We're gonna camp at the city center, go into phalanx, and endure wave after wave of Greeks. Things are looking bad, but they're gonna be worse for the enemy now as the reinforcements are shot to death and the Asuan warriors deliver the killing blow. The Kumak has made it to Egypt, making trade friends along the way, such as Bey, who may or may not be partaking in the grass of the gods. While he might be in denial about his mission, the Egyptians are eager to trade despite their unfriendly attitude. His silver tongue even convinced the pharaoh to allow us to buy property in Egypt. Now we can call upon the Egyptians to fight against the Greeks. Ooh, another piece of vassal candy. The battles in Boeotia and Attica are bloody, and Paris' ego keeps getting inflated after defeating multiple armies. It's as if the gods truly favor him. But this is history. There's no divine intervention. He's in a hopeless situation almost. A huge Athenian host backed up by the Boeotians moves in to attack. Will hubris claim his life? Or will he somehow pull out a victory out of Apollo's ass? Paris called in a few favors from Vilusha, and a host of Trojan princes sailed to Greece. As they rain death on the Boeotians, our Thracian chalk infantry flanks them and shatters them into little pieces. That's just one part of the enemy army. Fresh foes await. But there's not enough arrows to shoot them all down, and slowly we're getting pushed back despite crushing their right flank with our infantry. Paris loses his guts even though winning is possible, and the rest of the men flee upon his capture. And Paris is executed. No! Paris! Yeah, who are we kidding? He definitely didn't wish to die in combat, but we're gonna honor his heroic and pointless death as the arrogant hedonist that he was. Grief spreads amongst the people of Troy. Grief and the desire for vengeance. Aeneas besieges Athens to take the head of the man who killed his cousin, while Priam and Hector set sail for Greece.
Across the sea.
Dude, Paris just died and you're trying to bang Helen? What's wrong with you? Look at all the armies coming! Our first target, Kitara, is well defended. Thanks to our Egyptian friends, we've got a whole load of light chariots to dominate the battlefield. And even more islanders and hillmen march for the Trojan cause. The Egyptians must have the sight of Horus himself as they spot the isolated Greek archers and pull off a hit and run, which had more hitting than running in it. Meanwhile, our battle lines clash, Greek versus Greek. But the victor won't be easily determined. Troy's chosen are massacring the Mycenaeans, and our archers rain death upon the skirmishers, who get the Egyptian treatment after. With the hillmen and chariots crashing into the giant blob of Greeks, the army of Mycenae shatters and our path to conquest begins. Kurunta captured a decent chunk of the Attic coast, and even his heir, our son, Deiphobus, is causing havoc in Greece. The Athenians sally out in an effort to kill the mighty Aeneas once and for all, but they can't stand before his rage. Renowned Isuans, heroes amongst men, fight among us. But for some reason the Boeotians have a death wish, so they send their units to meet the firing squad head on. Fine with me. As front lines collide, axe versus axe, the Isuans are butchering the Argives. But the Greeks are reinforced and the odds are not in our favor. Eventually, they are broken. The Egyptian swordsmen charge the enemy general and pin his unit down long enough for the Thracians to arrive with clubs and do what they do best. Smash the enemy while drunk on wine. That's why the Thracian chariots are absolutely slaughtering any of the light troops they touch. With the remnants of the enemy army on the run, we're easily able to enter Athens, overwhelm the pathetic garrison and burn it to the ground as vengeance for Paris. Priam's son, Troilos, is the fighting age, but how was he raised in the wild? Are you trying to tell me Anatolia is a crap hole? Thanks to Takua's strongly worded clay letter, sent from the Nubian coast, where bro is totally not chilling, there's only one right thing to do. Marry him off to another savage girl and send him to Hatti, where he'll inherit the throne of Shupiluluyuma. Not only do we have one of our sons as the future king of our new vassal, Tarhuntasha, we also have one as the great king of the Hittites. By adding even more vassals to my collection, we're truly the masters of Anatolia, and so much more. As wise Priam makes landfall on the coast of Aeolia, the mighty Achilles, a warrior equal to none, attacks. His units are highly experienced, but most of them are rabble compared to the Chosen of Troy. For all his showing off, his men just can't stand up to Troy's Chosen, and they certainly won't survive a rear charge from the Thracians. Even Priam himself decides to go up close and personal, mowing the lawn with his chariots. As the mighty quote-unquote hero flees, his army is torn to bits by the angry Thracians. I guess Priam really must have struck his Achilles' heel, cause how could such a fierce warrior just be beaten up by an old dude? Unless he was Master Roche all along, and the rest of Aeolia falls before the rage of a grieving father. Look, even Shupiluluyuma is coming to Greece. The Aegean Union is working perfectly, unlike another union. As the war rages on, the sons of Troy and their allies push deeper into Greece, intent on stilling its beating heart. The Hittites and their vassals have also made landfall. With Tarhuna's blessing, the western islands of Greece fall to the Hittites and the Cassiopae submit to us. Hector arrives at the fabled gates of Mycenae, with clear purpose on his mind. Vengeance for a fallen brother and all the sons of Troy. The city is besieged, but hey, out of nowhere, the Mycenaeans surrender and we lived happily ever after, yay! No, we're gonna have to fight a battle versus the cornered rats of Mycenae. We march to war as one. Trojans, Egyptians, even the pirates of Lycia added to our ranks. The enemy outnumbers us with heavy infantry, but if we have a few tricks of our own, our hillmen move through the forest to scout for the enemy reinforcements and quickly charge into a small army full of javs and axemen. They'll take many lives and buy our main forces precious time. As the lines collide, our Lycian archers fire their deadly shots into the enemy before closing in with swords. This is a fight of desperation, but we didn't come so close only to be denied victory, and the Mycenaeans are fighting for their beloved city. As much as we hate them. Once again, the Egyptian chariots charge with deadly purpose, killing wave after wave of enemies. Some of them will die, and hopefully the weighing of the heart will favor them in the eyes of Anubis. Our hillmen break the enemy and join us just in time as the Mycenaeans flee to their city, only to be completely destroyed by hillmen and chariots. Unopposed, the sons of Troy enter Mycenae and sack the city. Much booty has been carried off, and more blood has been spilled to reach this moment. As for the silver-haired, silver-tongued Takua, whose feats of diplomacy were legendary in this war, his journey is only beginning as he moves down the Nile to find new allies for Troy. We control all of Greece through vassals and allies, while most of Anatolia is under our influence. The Tro-Chad dynasty will forever live on in this timeline because of our great deeds and an epic war. We're masters to many vassals and we trade with countless factions. Who knows what the future holds in these troubling times, but one thing's for sure, Troy stands firm and ready to face it. Well, now that we've altered history to a certain huge extent, I don't know what's gonna happen next, but I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more content like this and more historical, educational stuff, be sure to like, and hey, if you're crazy enough, subscribe. There's a lot more coming, so stay tuned. And until the next time...